Good afternoon. So prior to coming to Downers Grove, I was in the military and in a graduate school program. I've never had medicalization or hospitalization or psych visits in my life. And per the doctor's notes, the three doctors that I've seen since being harassed by Downers Grove police and fire department otherwise are all the same contingency that no psychological diagnosis exists. Wherein which purely an invasion of my privacy by Sergeant Mita contended for him to authorize me to go to the hospital otherwise after having a heated argument, which was warranted per an investigation which I had just asked him to conduct against sexual harassment, which I can prove further evidence of now. Which he didn't do, but instead he barged into my room illegally at a place that contends itself as a domestic violence shelter, which is to shelter you also from any individual coming in, granted the nature of being a domestic violence shelter, but of the police in particular, given the history of brutality and abuse that the police have contended otherwise, which is one of the reasons that DuPage Pads takes a notable weight. Him coming to my door directly was very surprising, as the individual who had sexually harassed me, who the report was against, I think a few days prior, was not at that location by any means, given that it's a domestic violence shelter, which he knew contingently, let alone would the abuser be in my private room at the domestic violence shelter in particular. So him coming into my room was purely sexual harassment and an act of police brutality and aggression. For him to ask me directly if I take any medication, knowing that the answer is no, the only reason that he would ever ask me that, given that I have never taken medication a day in my life, and like I said, successfully was about to graduate my graduate school program and went on to become a military linguist, is that he must have been invading records which he had no business knowing of, which otherwise contests should he know that there's no diagnosis. So the subsequent harassment and police visits and harassment visits and firefighter visits since I've had since then, purely with no basis whatsoever, only its position of sexual discrimination and sexual harassment via stalking me, calling the police, not even calling the police like regular racist-based sexual harassment, but calling the fire department or the EMT in particular to falsify medicalization towards the individual.